Hey everybody, welcome back. This is some family wedding drama that lit up the group chat.
Compilation.
That's just disrespectful.
Murderous.
Perfect. Bridezilla and her extended family destroyed 70 hotel rooms. Shut up! Who else loves Bridezilla stories? Ooh, me. Because boy, do I have one. Buckle up because it's a long one. It includes drunken adults and minors, shoplifting, the end of at least 2 relationships, a very long visit from your friendly neighborhood police officers, a few evictions, and a ton of overtime for my employees. It's like we were the host of a live version of the Jerry Springer show last night. Needless to say, there's gonna be an employee appreciation party very soon, since none of them walked out on me with all the crazy stuff that happened. Yeah, because they wanted a front row seat. I'm a front of house manager at a hotel that has 132 rooms, and the wedding party that stayed with us last night had rented out 70 of them. But that's not all. We also had not 1 but 2 school sports teams in-house, renting a combined total of 30 rooms. Needless to say, our hotel was very well bursting at the seams. Especially since each group wanted to be as far away from the other as possible, we had to pack regular travelers between them all. Party hardy, am I right? Hindsight is 2020, and we should have realized we were in front of a storm 2 days ago. Bridezilla, her groom King Kong. How have I never heard that before? That is perfect. And the wedding party of monsters all checked in then. The men checked into one of the largest suites for a bachelor party, while the women checked into another for their bachelorette. We fully expected the men to cause a riot because they were hauling in beer literally by the keg. In reality, Bridezilla and her Bridezilla maids were the ones that went on the rampage. Not only did they tally up a total of 3 noise complaints, the 4th one gets you evicted, and over $100 worth of pantry charges, but they actually paid a group of kids $20 each to run up and down the hallways. I can only suspect it was because they meant to use the kids as a distraction from their own roughhousing. Ooh, that's dirty. You're playing dirty now.
I'm a dirty, dirty girl.
The employee on duty last night said a guest came down to report that they thought the room was being used to film a Girls Gone Wild video. But the sun eventually set, and I came in to work my morning shift the next day. I stupidly didn't see all the red flags sailing right in front of my face. Less than 15 minutes into my shift, Bridezilla's maid of honor comes down. She sees that I'm standing behind the desk and wearing a name tag, so she rightfully treats me like I'm not a human being. Love that for you. Because as we know, people that work in customer service are just robots in cheap flesh suits. Beep boop. Boop. I booped you. She chews me out a little bit for my employees' despicable behavior last night towards her and her best friends. I run through my programming and run apologize template 12 and say, we are sorry to have made her feel disrespected and insulted, but inform her that her room had multiple noise complaints against it.
What is that noise?
We're very strict on our noise policy, ma'am, I told her. You aren't the only guests in the hotel, and if you cannot be courteous to our other guests, we will kindly ask that you seek other accommodations. Bridezilla's maid of honor didn't like that. Oh no! She said, well, it's just my opinion, but as someone who's a part of a wedding that brought your hotel more than 60 rooms worth of business, I think you guys should be a little more lenient with the rules for us. Unfortunately, my SAS module was not installed at the time due to a lack of sleep. So instead of going Minnesota nice on her, oh, you got a Minnesota accent, eh? Oh, that makes it so much funnier. Can I do this whole thing in a Minnesota accent? I don't know.
I'd like to see you try.
I told her, we're trying to provide a consistent experience to all guests. I know you guys are throwing a party and it's a happy time for many of you, but we cannot bend our noise policy. Minnesota accents are so cute. Y'all are just Canadian. Let's just agree on that. After that exchange, she has a list of people arriving today that she wants me to assign to specific rooms because I have to make sure certain people aren't rooming too close together. Okay. Some of them have cheated on the other ones, but they promise to behave themselves if they don't have to look at each other. Oh my. Now, I may be just a simple robot that cannot consume liquid beverages. But in my opinion, I don't believe exes and alcohol mix well. You are correct. Maid of honor asked for housekeeping to come up ASAP to clean their trashed room because they're going to use it as a prep room for the wedding. The housekeeping executive doesn't even show up for another hour, and I refuse to leave the desk to spend time cleaning their room. I told her she'd have to wait a bit before someone came in, to which she again offered her opinion and said, I really think a hotel this big should have someone always on duty for stuff like this. Would you like to put it in the suggestion box, ma'am? By now, it's 9 a.m., basically dawn of the second day, and would you believe it, people for the wedding are already showing up to check in. It's wonderful that all these people are so punctual that they're 6 hours early, just so they aren't late.
Hi.
Graciously, we were not full the previous night, so I allowed them to check into rooms as they showed up. But you want to know what I honestly thought? They all looked like clones of that woman from the "That's My Opinion" gif that I keep referencing. And I do not want to test how well my eardrums could stand up for a whole choir of sirens.
That's my opinion!
I get it now. I get the reference.
I understood that reference.
The small highlight to the busy morning is that there was a professional that came in and did all the hair for all the kids involved in the wedding party. She did up flowers in all the girls' hair. They all looked adorable running through the breakfast area. I hope Bridezilla doesn't influence those kids' behavior too much. The rest of the morning passes by in a flash. I'd done at least 40 of the 75 arrivals we had for the day. The PM shift arrives and I catch her up to speed and offer to stay late with her. I expected it to be just as crazy until the wedding starts at 5. She declines and says she'll be fine. A response which she tells me she regretted in a text message later that night.
I was not in control of that situation at all.
At 5 o'clock, she had a line of people out the door. All of them are a part of the wedding group and screaming at her because they're now late for the wedding. More than 5 women were demanding that she give them keys so they could change in the rooms without having them bother with trivial things like payment or signatures. She was a trooper and stood her ground, asking all of them to wait their turn to check in. My houseman on duty even offered to help her if she signed into the second computer for him. But that small ray of hope was quickly squashed. A mother on the 3rd floor called us to inform us that her son had swallowed a large quantity of pool water.
Yeah, that's not funny.
The pool water upset his stomach, and he ended up vomiting all over the elevator and the 3rd floor. The very same floor that the wedding party was pre-assigned and checking into. So he had to go deal with that. Once that rush was over, all was quiet for a few peaceful hours. Then it was time for the shuttle to pick them up. Weddings usually all follow the same pattern. They ask for the shuttle service from 8 p.m. until 1 a.m. Happy to pay our outlandish fee for private use of the shuttle. Then no one bothers to use it until 11 p.m., at which point the alcohol makes them view the shuttle as a clown car. And they all believe they've joined the circus. May I say, OP, that this is written very, very well. I'm thoroughly enjoying your writing. Tonight followed the same pattern with only one exception. At 8:30, the driver had a single woman ride it back to the hotel, sobbing her eyes out. She told him that she saw her fiance making out with her cousin behind the reception hall and couldn't believe it.
And the plot thickens.
He tries to offer her comforting words on the way back, but I'm told this was an all-around awkward 15-minute ride. When she gets back to the hotel, she demanded of the desk that we take her card off her file and make her ex-fiance pay. Except we don't because we need him to come down and slide his card. The chances of that happening were slim to none. So, as my shuttle driver was busy acting as the Ronald McDonald clown bus, stuffing close to triple the legal capacity into it, since not a single one of them bothered listening to him, I'm sure you all have one burning question on mind. What about the sports teams? Oh, I forgot about them. Have they caused any problems? Can you guess the answer? If you guessed yes, then you're right. One of the 2 teams had rented out a conference room to have a pizza party in. They were informed several times that they only had room from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. And after the children stuffed themselves full of pizza, they ran to use the swimming pool. As I'm sure you're all aware, global law states that if you're at a hotel for your kid's sports event, you're legally allowed to get completely wasted. And I mean absolutely faced. At that point, the hotel staff is supposed to babysit your gremlin so you can party like you're 21 again. Isn't that swell? So our houseman is trying to get the kids to behave themselves and stay quiet in the pool while the front desk is threatening to evict the parents. Because now it's 10:30 and Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus is being blasted from the conference room and can be heard throughout every inch of the hotel. Our parents back in the conference room had been waving off the front desk threats until we finally get a lucky break. The night audit came in half an hour early because the weather was bad and she didn't want to be late. My night auditor has plenty of years under her belt and has seen far worse. She called the police within seconds of walking in and informed the sports parents that she was doing so. When the police arrived, the parents had all belligerently returned to their rooms, and my PM desk shift was able to go home after that stressful day of work. But that's when the real fun starts. Oh, Nelly! The officers got called away only a few minutes after arriving, but we know exactly where they went after that. They actually got called to the reception hall where the wedding was being held. Apparently, they needed to shut down the bar because the parents were buying drinks for the kids, who were 18 to 20. Plus, one of the kids that was drinking became heavily intoxicated, stole the keys to his mother's car from her purse, and crashed it into another car in the parking lot. The kid was fine, but probably suffered a wicked hangover this morning. The reception hall had called the police to kick them all out, and that's when they became our problem again.
Goody.
See, the driver, who still should have had pickups at 12, 12:30, and 1, now had to pick them all up at 12. There was at least 35 people cramming into the bus, each of which was holding a beer glass with at least a half pint of beer in it. He put his foot down then, turned off the shuttle, and told them they weren't allowed to have open alcoholic beverages while in a vehicle and would not drive them back until they all disposed of them. Needless to say, that didn't go over well. None of them listened to him and just berated him to bring them back because it was cold. One of the officers on site came over and told the driver they'd be willing to escort him back and would overlook the many passengers and their open alcohol just so they could get these people inside. So when the shuttle and the police entourage show up at the hotel half an hour later, it was like unleashing Pandora's box upon the building. 4 officers even stayed around to help the night audit deal with all the drunk and disorderly because there were a lot of complaints. The first thing that happened was someone was complaining about a room on the first floor. Someone was attempting to do an amateur remake of 50 Shades of Grey and were not being subtle about it. Then there was screaming and yelling and the breaking of lamps. Remember that cousin that broke someone's relationship up earlier? Well, she apparently had a fiance of her own.
Honestly, where does it end with you people?
And while she was doing the nasty with another man, her drunken fiance walked in on them. It did not end well, and we had to evict all 3 of them. Meanwhile, on the 3rd floor, Girls Gone Wild had resumed in full force. It's all the same song and dance for the next few hours. People call to complain, the audit and officers deal with it, and eventually everyone slips into sleep. Please read slips into sleep as becoming blackout, drunk, and passed out. I assumed that. You didn't need to clarify. Apparently, the officers were having a slow night, and 2 of them stayed until the night audit was done since she didn't feel safe on her own. My husband stayed until 3 a.m. to help the night audit with moral support and cleaning the hallways because they were trashed with a capital T. We didn't know what 310 was doing in her room at 4 in the morning, but 210 swears all the way to Sunday that they were practicing an Irish jig and falling. There was a lot of falling. But the crazy thing is when the audit got up to the room, the entire floor was silent. Toward the end of the evening, a man comes down to our pantry, takes an armful of random items and starts walking away. He's clearly drunk because the officers watched him bewilderingly, and the night audit calls out, asking the man if he would like to charge his items to his room. Said man must have actually been 3 deer in a trench coat because he sprinted off at that the second she asked. A police officer caught him, but he was so drunk that our night audit took pity and said we wouldn't press charges and asked to just escort him back to the room. And now today, I come in at 7 a.m. and caught up to speed. I'll tell you, seeing a cop standing at the front desk does not do my heart any good. If I have to come in and see a cop, I fully expect them to be there because someone got murdered. The morning was quiet, too quiet. And then I hear it. The drunken heavy stomps down the staircase. The screaming agony of a stomach demanding food above alcohol, and Bridezilla descends into the lobby with a hunger. The hunger has arrived! A hunger that can only be satiated by screaming at the front of house manager. So I take it, listening to her scream, and demand that everyone in her party be refunded. All 70 rooms. She can't believe that we had the audacity to call the cops on her friends and family. It's a wedding, she shouts over and over. We're supposed to have fun, not be treated like a bunch of dogs. Well, if the shoe fits. I really didn't want to deal with her bullshit, so I told her, ma'am, you must keep it down, or else I will have to call the cops back. Our employees were verbally threatened by some of your guests last night and did not feel safe. I wanted to say that if they didn't want to be treated like dogs, they shouldn't act like dogs then. Great minds. But that may have been a little too unprofessional, and I couldn't override my own programming. Well, I can say it for you, sweetheart. So the wedding party began to check out, but not before they trashed breakfast. There was food dropped, coffee spilled, and my 2 breakfast attendees swear it was done on purpose. When they were cleaning up some spilled coffee, a bridesmaid knocked over another cup of coffee and they all snickered at them. What is this, Mean Girls 2? And that is my tale of Bridezilla. I've already gotten 2 emails from our guest relations department saying that there have been complaints opened up against us about employee behavior last night. But they're both from members of the wedding party. So all I have to do is submit a copy of the police report and I think we'll be good. I pray that all of you will never have to deal with bridezillas of your own. And if you do, Godspeed and good luck. The white dress. This story is about my friend's mother-in-law and her wedding. Strap in, guys. This is a wild ride in which I did the thing that got me banned from any of her family functions. Plus a few threats of dismemberment and bodily harm. Oh God. All right, buckled in. Let's go. A good friend of mine from university was getting married. They had been a couple since junior year of college, through her 2 years in the Peace Corps, and currently her return to this continent. 6 years in total. She had been to all manner of family functions and always came back with a strange story about how she thinks her mother-in-law secretly hates her. But she, being a very quiet and sweet person, pushed those thoughts aside. Point 1. She is vegetarian and Jewish. Husband is not. She was invited and went to Christmas dinner and figured she would just eat sides, as well as she brought a vegetarian casserole. Mother-in-law, after knowing her for 3 years and being told by her husband a few weeks before not to forget that she doesn't eat meat, proceeded to put meat in every dish. Friend drank water and ate her casserole the whole night, while mother-in-law cried to everyone that friend was so rude for not eating her cooking. Anyway, back to the story. A few friends and I were asked to be in the wedding. Friend has a huge family, so this was not going to be a small affair. Neither of them is particularly religious, but friend said it would be nice to be married under a huppah. Husband said he could care less and told her to go and rent one for their wedding. I was at the bridal shower when mother-in-law found out about the
pretty canopy,
which was actually a huppah. She almost lost her shit in front of a bunch of people, but managed to compose herself and laugh angrily that
if Jews were being represented, so would be the Catholics.
In my head, I heard a record screech, guys, they aren't Catholic. So after much fighting, a lot of screaming, crying, threatening to pull money, which is funny because she contributed nothing. Mother-in-law lost. The boot was firmly placed and nothing was moving it. Huppah, yes. Catholic priest, no. Things got stupid quiet. My friend texts me the night before the wedding that she has a bad feeling. I tell her it's probably just nerves. She's getting married and this is a big deal. Oh, how wrong I was. We all show up, get our hair and makeup done, slip into our bridesmaids' dresses and hang out, waiting for the bride to be finished with her hair. She makes a comment saying she hasn't seen mother-in-law all day and that she skipped her hair and makeup appointment. We all side-eyed each other and took a few sips of wine and hoped the eerie feeling would go away.
Oh God! Ah! Da-dum, 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 da-dum.
Thank you for your contribution, Shark. 30 minutes later, as we are helping the bride into her dress, guess who shows up? Ooh, the mother-in-law. Mother-in-law! If you guess mother-in-law, you win a cookie. Yay! Cookies! Flushed from coming up the stairs, she's not a light woman. In full hair and makeup and a white dress. Not ivory, not cream, full snow fricking white. The dress is clearly a wedding dress. It was even from David's bridal, which she would later shout at me. Floor-length satin with a sweetheart beaded top, a bit of train and an off-white lace on the bottom. Oh my gosh. The dress was even tailored to her. This has been a long con she has orchestrated. The bride burst into tears and the aunts and friends ushered mother-in-law out. We did our best to console the bride, touched up her makeup, and I made her promise that the dress would never be seen in a photo. She looked me dead in the eye and nodded. Game on. The venue only supplied white wine and champagne for the wedding party, but I grabbed my purse and ran down into the reception area and managed to flag an attendant by the bar and bribe him with a cool $20 to give me a bottle of red early. I cracked the baby open, filled a solo cup to the brim with it, and stalked outside. After a few swigs from the bottle for courage, I went over to where everyone was getting ready to take photos. With one last hard stare at my friend, I got her nod of approval. I pulled out my phone, held it in front of my face like I was reading a text, and walked straight into mother-in-law. I poured the entire cup of red wine down the front of her dress, jumped back, and gasped. The look on her face was murderous. She screamed, yelled, threatened, and promised she would sue me. People had to hold her back because she wanted to fight me. Eventually, she switched from screaming to sobbing and sank to the ground and threw a tantrum on the floor. Jesus. Everyone moved back and just let her go at it and walked away to go take photos. It was surreal, as if everyone just hit their limit and noped out from around her. The 12-year-old flower girl whipped out her phone and snapped a few photos, much to our amusement. This is already super long. No, by all means, keep going. I'm enjoying every second of this. But I will say that mother-in-law went home and changed, only 20 minutes from the venue, into a nice dark green, too small and low-cut dress. Because of this, she missed all of the photos. Wedding was beautiful. I got death glares from everyone she told that I attacked her with wine. No were given as I drank and danced with friends. Bride thanked me in secret and 3 months later took me to the spa for a day of pampering. But I'm officially that C-word to mother-in-law, and I'll take it with pride.
I would too. That, like, you deserve a trophy. Excellent.
You're such a good friend. Edit 2, holy waffles, this blew up. Edit 3, rip my inbox. I'm trying to grant you all your cookies. Also, I'm happy to explain the situation, but the rude, you are lying messages aren't appreciated, and I'm working on those photos. Damn, you just got invited to my wedding, you slide. All I ask for payment is dinner and wine. You could legit make money on this sub renting yourself out to control mother-in-laws. She's just no version of a hitman. Just send me the location and photo of the mother-in-law. I will take care of the rest. Honestly, if your friend wouldn't spill a glass of wine on your monster-in-law at your wedding after she wore a white dress, is she really even your friend? This is what I expect. Am I the a-hole? Order? Please be seated. Am I the a-hole for going home after I overheard my husband say he didn't want to bring me with him to his family vacation? My husband goes on annual vacations with his family. I'm on okay terms with them, but since we've only been married for a short time, I don't see his family much. We still have that barrier that keeps it from being completely comfortable around each other. His family arranged for the vacation last week. I, out of curiosity, asked if I could come. My husband felt hesitant, but I told him it would be a great opportunity to get to know his family better. He agreed to take me, and his family were surprised to see me, but still welcomed me. On the third day of the vacation, his dad, mom, brothers, and spouses were all sitting at a table outside talking while I was preparing a fruit salad. As I was making my way back, I overheard my mother-in-law say, "Did she really have nowhere else to spend this weekend?" At first, I had no idea who she was talking about, so I kept on walking, but stopped once I overheard my husband say, "I know, and I didn't want to bring her with me, but what was I supposed to do? You know how pushy she can get." I instantly figured it was about me. I felt so shaken up to the point where I almost dropped the salad. The whole time I was there, I cleaned, I cooked, I looked after the kids, and this is how they think of me, an inconvenience to them. Ooh, is this one of those things where he complains about you a lot behind your back? Be very careful about what you say about your significant others to your friends and family, because if you're constantly complaining about them, that's kind of the only thing that your family knows about them, and obviously they're going to be on your side if you ever have a grievance with your significant other. For my mom, once I complain about you once, it's over. She hates you. I quietly booked a ticket and went home on the first plane. He called and texted, but I didn't respond anything other than I let him know that I was home. He got back and went off on me saying what I did was disrespectful and juvenile. I told him I overheard the conversation he had with his mom, but he said that I was wrong for eavesdropping. Gaslighting! That's f***ing gaslighting! That sounds like gaslighting to me. Divorce! Divorce, I say! And that his family will warm up to me on their terms, so I should stop pushing to be around that when they don't feel comfortable with it. Okay, but what's your excuse? Basically saying it was my fault for coming along in the first place. He said that going home made him and his family disappointed and gave them a really bad impression about me. Oh, really?
Oh.
Well, I mean, you kind of only left because you weren't wanted, right? I think that I might have messed this up and somewhat ruined it for them as well. Girl, you need to get a friggin' divorce, now. Now. Honestly, I would have let them know that I heard them talking about me. In that kind of situation, I would have gone into that head on. I probably would have been pretty upset, which might not have been the best way to go about it, but still, they need to know that what they did was disrespectful because they think that you just left because, they already dislike you for whatever reason. Oh, well, this just confirms it. It's like, no, she left because of your actions.
So,
you're definitely not an a-hole. You should be more of an a-hole, in my opinion. The a-hole vibes are not strong enough with this one. Am I the a-hole makes me happy? I'm single pretty much every day. They're not all like this, I swear. There's good guys out there, guys. There's also great women out there too. But this is unacceptable, in my opinion. This is why dogs will forever be more popular than relationships or situationships. Yeah, but dogs can't talk shit, so. Do you think that if dogs could talk, they would talk about us? Am I the a-hole for wearing pink at my wedding because of my mother-in-law? Ooh, this was deleted. Ooh, this post looks like it's from the early 90s. Once you put it on the internet, it's on the internet, friends. Sorry. No pandemic shamers, please. We had a 20-person outdoor wedding with masks. Anyway, my husband is the only child of a divorced mom who has heavily relied on him for emotional support, yard work, chores, anything you would rely on a husband for. According to my husband, she's hated every girlfriend he's ever had, and I am no exception. I am stealing her baby. Anybody else think it's super weird when mother-in-laws just think that no one is good enough for their son? It's like they've got a little crush on them, I've always been polite to her and ignored her passive-aggressive jibes. This woman has bought the perfume I was wearing after asking me what it was, bought the same car in the same color as me 1 month after I got mine, insisted we spend Valentine's Day with her. You see what I'm saying? Ask my husband why he doesn't take her on vacations, you name it. I made the mistake of allowing her to come bridal gown shopping with me and my mom. There, she found a white wedding dress and insisted it was a perfect mother of the groom dress. I was horrified, my mother was horrified, and the sales lady was horrified. We tried to convince her it was not appropriate and asked her to respect my wishes.
No dice.
She said,
You are being a bridezilla.
and forgetting it's my special day too. Ah, no, it's not. It's not. You are a monster-in-law. I went home and told my fiance, now husband, and he tried to reason with her and she would not have it. So I decided we were changing things up. I picked a pink blush wedding gown without telling her. Had my bridesmaids pick white dresses. And my mom picked a white dress. We didn't tell her any of this. She showed up the day of the wedding and had a shocked Pikachu face and was beet red.
Oh my.
See, that to me is like, that was deliberate, you know? Like, why do you got a problem with someone else wearing white at the wedding? Honestly, the wedding was beautiful. It looked stunning to have a white bridal party in white and pink florals and me in a pink dress. She had a scowl on her face the whole time. Good. The day after the wedding, she called my husband and lectured him about how mean we were to her and we didn't let her feel special. And we took away her shine. Everyone I know is on my side, including my father-in-law, mother-in-law ex. But my husband's aunt said we bullied his mom by doing this. Did we? Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. This was excellent. Not the a-hole, not at all, never. In fact, you can explain to her slowly and patiently that she was right about her dress. It was perfect, and you see that now. She inspired you to ensure she fit in with the bridal party, and didn't everyone look fabulous? She really helped set you out from the crowd, which was a lovely thing to do to a bride. You included her because she's so important, just like your mother. But I'm petty and overt. Sugary niceness is super satisfying to use against these types.
Kill him with kindness.
But with a snide look on your face. You are out here playing petty chess, not checkers. I love it. Also, you saved your mother-in-law from the embarrassment of wearing a white dress at a wedding. Everyone who's a decent person would criticize her heavily. This is what I'm saying. Am I the a-hole for transferring my assets to my daughter before my marriage?
This can't be good.
I, female 28, had my daughter, female 9, while still in college. I'm still ashamed to admit I don't know who the dad is.
Who's your daddy?
I don't know.
It was a drunken party mishap. My parents disowned me, and sympathizing with my plight, my grandpa took me in. He had a bad relationship with my dad. Grandpa died 2 years ago, leaving me his entire estate. He was kinda rich. I started dating my fiance Max, male 35, around 4 years back. He has 2 kids, female 6, male 10. He has full-time custody of them as well. Their mom married someone else and moved across the country. She pays child support, but makes no effort to contact or visit them. We've lived together for over a year now, and everyone gets along pretty well. We stay at the house my grandfather left me and split all the bills and expenses 50-50, okay? But keep the rest of the finances separate. He popped the question 2 months ago, and I said yes. I think he smells money. I'm just saying, I think he smells money. A few weeks ago, we had a minor fight. My daughter's birthday's coming up and I wanted to gift her a pony. She's been learning to ride for a few years now and really wants one. When I mentioned this to Max in passing conversation, he got mad at me for wasting our money on stupid gifts like this.
Oh.
Boo! Why? Because it's not your daughter that she's giving the gift to? It's her money, babe. That's her money. She can give her daughter a pony if she damn well pleases. I told him I'm not taking anything out of our budget and just buying it out of my money. He then said I should buy his kids' ponies too to make it fair. Absolutely not. I said, sure, let's split the expense. He told me I should buy it myself since I am rich and it is my decision to buy my daughter a pony in the first place. No, literally call the whole wedding off. No. Let's call the whole thing off. He's trying to make it equal for all the kids in the household and don't have money to waste like this. Okay, but is it their birthday? Have they been learning how to ride a horse? I got his point. I don't. But I also felt that he would want me to make everything equal with his kids too. I get they will be my kids too and I should not treat them different, but they're not your kids yet, babes. I also felt like my daughter should not have to split her generational wealth. It is not mine, it's my grandpa's, and he loved her. He left it to me believing I would pass it on to her. So I made a trust fund, transferring 50% of the assets I inherited into that. See, the good thing about trust funds is nobody gets access to it except for the person that it's for. Doesn't matter if you marry someone, that trust fund is off limits. It has rules regarding reasons I can make a withdrawal out of, like education, separate living allowance based on age, money for marriage, for house, and entire balance made available at 30. I set up another trust fund for myself, putting 30% assets into it with yearly allowance, and then dissolves after 50, hoping to retire then. Balance 20% is mostly the house, land, and emergency funds. I did it so whatever income I earn, I will be able to make it equally split within kids, but inheritance will stay intact for my or my daughter's future without having to be split or used for my stepkids. My fiance found out about this a couple of days ago. Saw some related papers in my drawer. He was really mad at me for cutting him and his kids out. So let me get this straight. You guys live in the house that your grandfather gave to you. You split bills 50-50, and he's mad about you putting money away for your retirement and your daughter? Careful with this one. That it is not fair for me to keep 90% of my wealth just to myself and my kid when he's sharing all of his with us. You're not entitled to that money just because you're marrying that person. You're just not. I said I was sharing everything I make too. The inheritance is kept aside. He is not bringing any inheritance into the union either.
Cheap fuck.
He said that's because he has none. It's incredibly selfish of me not to share. It's incredibly selfish of him to expect it, to lock it away. Too bad. That with this, my daughter will have a luxurious life while his kids have an average life. Since there's no way we can afford all of that for them with our income only, then get a new job and work harder and make more money. Why is that up to your wife? If you want a better life for your family, you have to work harder to provide that. I said generational wealth is separate and it should go to the biological family. Right, that is kind of how it works, especially if it's in a trust fund. He called me an a-hole for discriminating and depriving his kids of an equally good life. Am I the a-hole? No. And I honestly kind of feel like this is a major red flag. Like, he smells the money and he sees an opportunity and he wants to marry you because he sees that you will provide something that he cannot. I totally disagree though, by the way, with that statement that I just made. You can provide the kind of life that you want for your family. You gotta work hard. You gotta find a high income skill and you gotta work for it. But you can't expect to be given that money by somebody else. You do realize because of his attitude, you've already protected your child's assets once he brought up marriage. That is kind of a good point. I feel like it's kind of like, it's not very romantic to do this. Like, it's kind of like you're making someone sign a prenup, you know? It's like, okay, so you love me, but do you love me if there's no money involved if we separate?
I doubt it.
And that's the thing, right? You did this, in my opinion, because you know his intentions aren't honorable. Not the a-hole, but follow your instincts. I agree, and since he has 2 kids and you only have 1, if you split the inheritance equally, his kids would take a larger share of your daughter's inheritance than she will. I would not marry this person. Major red flag, babes. Major red flag. Plus, I have to wonder, is he spending the child support money he receives from his ex equally on OP's daughter? Good point. I don't know if he's legally obligated to do that, but his kids would essentially have 3 sources of income. Uh-oh. If you do marry him, have a bulletproof prenup prepared and signed. And if he has a problem with it, which it sounds like he kind of does, that tells you everything that you need to know. Oh, there's an update. I know this is quick, but I'm someone who always acts quickly, so here's the update. I had a much needed conversation with Max. I showed him the post, replies, advices, and experiences. He looked defeated to see this. At the core, there were 2 issues. How much do I trust him?
0.
How do we handle finances moving forward? He told me he was ready to sign a prenup before I even asked. Well, that's good. If that would alleviate my worries. He also said all he wants is to have everyone in the household feel equal, to not make his kids feel resentful, to make it fair to everyone. I understood that. It's not, okay, but wait a second. They're not your kids though, so like, and that's not their grandfather. This is sticky. This is a sticky situation. The fact is, there is no way that it can be made fair to everyone. If I want to give my daughter the best of everything, I should give the same to his kids too. But that's not always possible even with our combined incomes. For example, if her love for riding stays, both me and her would prefer she attend a private school providing equestrian sports. Tuition for that and related costs can be availed from her trust. But we would not be able to afford to pay tuition for his kids out of our combined income. Trust is already set up, and even I cannot withdraw money for their tuition. Even if I could, I would be reducing my retirement retirement fund or my daughter's inheritance. Same goes for car, tuition fund, and all other expenses my daughter will have covered. But even within our incomes, we can't give equally to Max's kids. Further, marriage is a big risk, even with a prenup. If he takes on debt during the course of marriage, I will also be liable. A lot of the comments have instilled a lot of fear in me. I'm also worried about the resentment finance is going to build. I love Max, I really do, but I love my daughter a million times more. She is my life. I have to accept that her future opportunities is more important to me than a marriage, at least for the next 9 years. Who am I kidding? Till my daughter can be fully independent.
Never.
And I cannot fault him for wanting the same for his kids. Then he needs to go out and earn more money. He is just being a dad, but I cannot take away from my daughter to give to his kids. I can only give equal love and care to them, equal attention. Financially, we are just not compatible. Long story short, I gave back my ring. Good for you. I don't even know why money was even brought into this, you know? Like, it should not, you should not have been guilt tripped into feeling like you wanted to give a better life for your daughter. Like, money shouldn't even be a part of the question, you know? Engagement and marriage is off the table for now. After all, there's no real necessity to get married. We are both sad about this turn, but the fact that he did not kick up a fuss is a bit reassuring. I really do believe that our companionship is just as valuable to him as to me. Just that we are also parents who want the best for our kids. I mean, yeah, not getting married is another solution, depending on like what your common law laws dictate. In Ontario, if you don't have a cohab agreement set up, after 2 years, I think they actually own like half of your house. Money's a tricky thing. Tricky, tricky, tricky. We don't know where our relationship is going. I would still like to have him in my life, but he's also free to leave and find another person. I did not ask him to leave and he's staying for now. I will try to keep normal stuff equal between all, whatever I can afford to do out of my income. My daughter is still getting a pony, as she should, queen. You get that princess everything. It's a gift from her great grandpa after all. I would not compromise her life and choices. This is the thing too, is like by giving one daughter something and then also giving the other kids the same thing, you're also creating kind of like this like expectation for them in life that they will never have to work for anything or that they're entitled to something because their sibling gets it. That is the way to raise entitled kids and then entitled adults. You cannot raise these stepchildren with the precedence that whenever their stepsister gets a present that they're gonna get the same present, because that's gonna be a harsh reality check. That's not how life works. My grandpa took me in for her sake. He left it all to me for her. I cannot compromise on that, and there's no need for 3 ponies.
Go on. Shoot.
Neither of his kids know or have shown any interest in riding. If they want one after seeing my daughter with hers, we will be getting them riding lessons and they can share. That's a good solution, actually. They will be getting the best birthday presents we can afford that aligns with their intents for their birthdays, if Max sticks around until then. I will also be protecting the house and the land as well. Good. He cannot make claims on it as far as I know, but I will be discussing it with my estate lawyer. Thank you for helping me see what I refuse to. Love had me blind. This is the thing, right? Like, we all like to be hopeless romantics. We all love to just like assume the best in people. But when it comes down to it, if something happens, you will regret not having a prenup. You will regret not putting anything in writing because you're just trying to protect yourself. And by the way, it also protects him too. You're not the a-hole, my dear. And I'm proud of you for being cautious. I want to call off my wedding because my husband is embarrassed about my culture. Oh God. Okay, here we go. Hi, I really need some advice. I might omit some things just because a lot of my friends are here. I'm 26 years old and I'm getting married to my husband, 28. I'm from a small village and moved to the US 5 years ago. That's important because in such a short amount of time, I'm not assimilated to the US culture and I'm still very involved in mine. When I met my husband, a few weeks into us dating, he told me he was gonna marry me as a joke.
What do you think I am, some kind of a joke?
But I told him how marriage works in my culture and he praised how beautiful it was. Fast forward to now, we agreed on 2 weddings, one of my culture and the other an American wedding. Sounds expensive. In my village, when you get married, both spouses get a gold bangle sort of thing. It's equivalent to a wedding ring. There is a ceremony and party for that as well. It's molded on your wrist and it can't come off until you use like a saw or something like that.
Convenient.
During my traditional wedding, I received a gift of these fruits I ate back home that are truly my favorite, but I haven't been able to find in the US. My husband jokes that he was not looking forward to smelling that every day, which is fine because I hate the smell of sausage, but it's something that he loves.
I bet he does.
I stayed back home for a week because I had missed it, and my husband came home early to prepare for the American wedding. I came home Monday, but didn't see my husband since he had work, and by the time he finished, I was sleeping. We had dinner last night, and I saw that he didn't have his bangle, and he told me he thought it was just for the party. I explained to him again how important this is to me. He then said I couldn't seriously expect him to wear it all the time. But you kind of like, didn't you like explain it to him like in advance?
It's tradition.
What about my family's tradition?
I asked him why not, and he told me it made him look unprofessional. I got like, how big of a bangle are we talking? Like, is this like a really like massive bangle, or is it something that he can like hide? I got upset with him and left. He ended up calling me to explain how it holds no cultural significance to him. So I told him. I rebutted, asking him if he was fine with me not wearing a wedding ring as it holds no cultural significance to me. Hey. He got a bit upset and gave me a lecture on how if we were in my country, he would wear it. I feel so turned off and uninterested in this relationship that I'm thinking of calling off the wedding. Let's call the whole thing off. Edit. He did know he would have to wear it permanently. Okay. We talked about this in the early stages of dating and several times leading up to now when I've had family members get married and when he proposed. He also works from home with the occasional in-person meetings. Let me just say that I went to my best friend's wedding recently. She's from one side of the world. Her family is from Asia, and her now husband is from the Middle East. And they actually combined both cultural wedding traditions in their wedding, and it became just this beautiful celebration of love and culture. It was amazing to watch them both respect each other's cultures so much that they wanted it to be a part of their wedding and their lives. That to me, it made me so emotional to watch that, because like, although they are different and they have different traditions, their parents are from different areas of the world, all their family doesn't speak the same language, they still wanted to pay homage to each other's cultures. One did not take precedence over the other. You're also telling me that he had the bangle put on and then he took it off? How did your husband remove his bangle? He went to a shop and they cut it off. Okay, but wait, what? But he knows he's not supposed to do that? So he cut it off, which doesn't mean he's denying the marriage. Basically, it's a divorce. Essentially, yes, because you only take it off in divorce. Men who aren't married don't wear one. He is not wearing one. Oh. He doesn't want to be involved in your culture. I honestly see red flags. I think the bangles of those religious cultures are beautiful, and if my husband was a part of it, I would honor traditions just as I expected he would honor mine. That's what makes life wonderful, you know? Especially in a multicultural marriage, a multicultural family. It's just so juicy. It's just so lovely to have all of that melting pot of each culture together. I will never understand people,
Me neither.
who get married to someone and don't respect that person's culture. I'm personally seeing major red flags. You gotta talk to him about it. Like the fact that he went and took it off, like literally had it, someone saw it off. That's just disrespectful. Am I the a-hole for canceling my brother's wedding? To make a novel short, my brother met his future wife at a party 3 years ago. Honestly, we never got along, but I always tried to put up a peaceful front because my brother seemed blissfully happy with her. Ella was mean to me a lot, like a lot. She would make comments about my weight, my makeup, and especially my dog. She hated animals and hated that I would bring my lab, Toast, to my parents' house. It always just felt like something aimed to hurt me. When the two got engaged, she asked me to be her maid of honor since she had no sisters or many girlfriends. That's not surprising. And since my brother seemed thrilled, I obliged. What I failed to realize when I accepted the role was that to her, maid of honor meant planning the entire wedding. I was booking venues, florists, jazz band, everything. Even worse, she expected me to put my credit card down for all of it. What? Am I missing something? Is that like a tradition, or is she just entitled? Because that's not, I don't know any traditions that like would ask that. My brother and her are not exactly well off, and since I have a well-paying job, I didn't mind holding the deposits, but it was starting to add up a lot. You're not getting that money back, babe. Like, every time I asked her about it, she would say it would all be paid back by her parents before the wedding. Yeah? I don't know about that. Flash forward to last week, about 3 weeks before the wedding, and she's unbearable to be around. She can't last more than a few sentences before snapping at anyone. So when, of course, I brought up the money, she hit the fan. I asked if she had received the updated receipt of everything owed, and she exploded. She called me a whole line of terrible names. The audacity. Like, literally the audacity. You have literally put this entire wedding on your credit card, and she has the audacity to be mad at you. She called me a whole line of terrible names, but the one that stuck out was her saying, "What do you need the money for anyway? Your sick dog is dead now." Oh! My beautiful Toasty died about a month before, after he fought the bravest battle with cancer. He was my soul dog, and I was devastated. I blinked at her and simply left the room, having no energy to even respond to something so cruel. I went back to my car, and after the 20 silent minute drive home, I parked the car, immediately called the vendors, and canceled any deposit under my card. Every single one. After almost 20 calls, all that was left of her wedding was the dress and the flower arch. That is literally so messed up. Never bite the hand that feeds you. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? I texted my brother a short explanation. I told him every vendor would be contacting him if they wished to keep their services, and they were now responsible for covering everything. That should have been how it was from the beginning. And I would no longer be attending. It was a matter of minutes before my phone started to explode and I turned it off. It's been a few days and I haven't talked to anyone but my mom, who thankfully understands where I was coming from. My brother has tried to call, but I feel terrible, both about what I did and what she said. I know what I did was extreme. I mean, no, they still had the opportunity to pay for it themselves. Where are these parents with the checkbook now? You said that they would pay her back right before the wedding. It's right before the wedding. I know what I did was extreme, but I also couldn't sit by and practically enable her cruelty anymore. I still can't help but feel bad for ruining my brother's big day. So I don't know, am I the a-hole for this? I feel like if you just kind of stood by and did nothing, your brother also wouldn't know how terrible she was. And I'm kind of like confused as to why he's still marrying a person who treats his sister like this. Not the a-hole, they were never gonna pay you back. This is what I'm saying. She shouldn't be mad. According to them, they were gonna pay for everything, right? It's a good thing she showed how wicked she was before you got stuck with the bill. I'm sorry about your loss. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about what you did. They shouldn't be getting married if they don't have the money, period. If her parents were going to pay, then they can put down the cards for deposits. Literally no harm done. When you give family money, don't ever expect to get it back. The Honorable Judge Charlotte presiding. Prosecutor Chocolate.
Plead your case.
Am I the a-hole for threatening to ban my brother from my wedding because he plans on proposing to his girlfriend during the reception?
It's a total move.
We shall reserve judgment. I, 25 male, am getting married in December. My fiance, 24 female, and I are both very excited and busy planning. And this incident is making things much more stressful. A couple weeks ago, I was talking about the wedding with my brother, 30 male, and he asked if it'd be okay for him to propose to his girlfriend at our wedding. Why are you even asking that? Why are you asking? That is a resounding no. Absolutely no. I laughed and said, yeah, sure, if you want to get your handed to you by my fiance. He laughed and I figured he got the message.
But he didn't.
The other day, my fiance came to me in tears saying my brother had called her and thanked her for letting him propose at the what? I'm sorry, are we like a little slow? Not all there. You telling him that your fiance will kick his ass if he proposes at her wedding is not a yes. That is an absolutely not.
Are you sure?
No way in hell. She told him that never happened and he wasn't allowed to do that. And he laughed and thanked her again. What? Oh, buddy. What the hell? Delulu. I called my brother back and asked him what was going on. He's insisting he's going to propose to his girlfriend at the wedding. He claims it's getting even for when I announced our engagement at the same family dinner he brought his girlfriend to meet the family.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. This is a wedding. I had no idea. They arrived separately and she got there after I had made the announcement. I told him if he doesn't get it through his head that he's absolutely not allowed to propose, both him and his girlfriend will not be allowed into the wedding at all. And if he tries to pull a stunt, he will be kicked out immediately. He didn't take it well and he told the whole family. My fiance and I have been getting calls and messages from them telling us how crappy we are for doing that. How dare I turn my back on my brother? Oh, I see. Oh, how funny. So you're not the favorite, eh?
Ouch.
I find it interesting that we're choosing to ignore the fact that he's completely going against your wishes and threatening to propose at your wedding, despite you saying that you are not comfortable with it. How are you the a-hole? He's also now blaming me for spoiling the proposal to his girlfriend and the family because if I hadn't been such an ass, he wouldn't have had to break the news to family like this. I'm so... Yeah? You sure about that? I still fail to understand how this is your fault because he was the one that needed to tell his family. He's the one that told them, not you. I still stand by what I did. I don't think I was out of line at all, but my fiance thinks we should have just let him propose to avoid conflict. No, this is a hill you need to die on. A big, petty mound of a hill. Do not buckle. There's already conflict. You're already in it, so just, like, deal with it.
Drama?
I know it means a lot to her that everyone gets along and there's no hard feelings, especially since she's feeling stressed as it is. But I don't want to give in to my brother. Am I the a-hole? You're not the a-hole. I don't understand, like, he's getting back at you for, you know, announcing your engagement, whatever. But you're also affecting his fiance, too. It's not just your brother. Your brother's being so unbelievably self-absorbed. Not the a-hole, it's your wedding. Besides, proposing at a wedding is super awkward. Like, the wedding is about the couple, not someone who's going to be getting married in the future. Honestly, like, you're You're just saving your brother from embarrassment. It's so inappropriate. They both clearly said no. If he can't respect that simple of boundaries, then he's not going to make a good husband. Not the a-hole. It's your special day and one that is going to be filled with so many good memories for you. Do not let your brother spoil that day for your significant other. You got a little petty with your brother, whatever, sibling rivalry, that's fine. But like, why do you need to take it out on the bride? It's not her fault that you guys might not have the best relationship. Like, it's not just about you. It's also about your bride. Long haul plan. All right, we got a plan. We got a plan. Let's see if this plan is good. We'll rate it on a scale of 1 to go time. Let him propose. You and the wife plan a life event. Then at their wedding, announce your news and make it something like, excuse me, everyone, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell everyone our news. The bluff plan. Alternatively, tell him he can propose on the condition that you get a half-hour slot at his wedding. Tell him it's a surprise and never let up what it will be until he says he won't do it. I don't know if I like it, honestly, because then it's just a tit for tat kind of like petty war that you're in. I can't even believe that this is happening. How dumb is this? What a dumb fight. I'm sorry, it is. Why is it always so dumb when it comes to siblings? Like, honestly, you're not the a-hole, my dear. Do you agree with my judgment?
For one time, we do agree.
Go back in your cage. Oh, we got an update. We have an update. I love it when there's an update. Firstly, thank you all so much for the crazy response on my original post. Totally unexpected, but very much appreciated by my fiance and I. As I mentioned a couple of times in the comments of my original post, my fiance and I wrote up a Facebook post to explain the situation to our families, mostly mine, including screenshots of texts with my brother and I. As expected, once the family heard our side of the story and put everything together, many of them changed their tune. All right, interesting. So they didn't know everything. Got it. Most of the family members who'd been calling me an a-hole ended up apologizing and siding with me and my fiance. It's always a good feeling to be right.
I told you so.
My brother was livid. He called me about an hour after the post went up and demanded I take it down because it made him look bad. No, babe, you made yourself look bad. It's literally your fault. He said he was being unfairly attacked and even blamed me for his girlfriend breaking up with him. No, honestly, it's kind of a good thing that she found out early because, like, this is some weird diabolical. This is weird. I'd break up with you too, buddy.
We're done.
My brother has formally been banned from the entire wedding. Yay! And we've asked any family members who continue to side with him to RSVP that they will not be attending. Our parents aren't happy with the turnout, and my mother has decided she won't be attending my wedding because of how I'm alienating my brother during an important event. Oh my gosh. Alienating your brother. How about your brother's being an absolute basket case and you're acting accordingly? What the hell? Mothers can be so unbelievably blind when their kids are acting like total lunatics, but that's not your problem. I don't mind. I've never been very close with her, and while it is a bit sad that she's choosing my hard-headed brother over my wedding, I still have my father's full support. My brother's now ex-girlfriend is still invited and got promoted to a bridesmaid because of how helpful and supportive she's been to my fiance. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's good. Let's focus on the silver lining, eh? Hopefully this is the last issue we'll run into during the wedding planning. I hope this update lives up to any expectations. I never expected I'd be in this situation, but I'm glad so many people in this sub got a kick out of it. I got so many kicks. I got a good little kick. Oh no, now you know that I just do these in pajamas. Pajamas and slippers.
Hot. Gotcha.
Yeah, your bro sounds like a narcissist, honestly. It's always awkward when there's a narcissist in the family, you know? Oh, God. It's so hard to communicate. He called me about an hour after the post went up and demanded I take it down because it made him look bad. Well, yeah, it made him look bad because he was behaving badly. Like, this is the thing. If you don't want people to post about your bad behavior or to tell people that you're behaving badly, don't behave badly. It's not that hard.
That's what she said.
Didn't he also go and tell your entire family that you like kicked him out of the wedding and like didn't tell them why you kicked him out? Narcissists don't like their perfect image spoiled in public. Same for your mother. Yeah, your mother sounds like a little bit of a narcissist too, because that spoils the perfect image of like the perfect family and like the perfect son. And it's like, no, you've ruined the whole happy families and perfect mother fantasy she insists you all play along with. Have a lovely wedding. It's settled then. I'm glad you found a way to work it out. And I'm sorry that this is happening to you and your family. It's always such a hard thing to deal with. My advice is it's easy to cut off a narcissist when they're not your family. It's very hard to cut off a narcissist when it's someone that is in your family who's hurt you and acted like a complete douche canoe. Keep them at arm's length. It's gonna be hard, but I mean, you guys will work it out in the end, I have a feeling. Or you won't, and that's okay too. You don't choose who your family is, unfortunately. Am I I the a-hole for not paying for my daughter's wedding because she invited my brother and his family? I'm 46 and my brother's 48. When I was 20, my then girlfriend cheated with my brother. Woo. Ew, what the hell? I was heartbroken and pissed. I told him he's no longer my brother. Despite my request, my family didn't cut him off, so I told him that I will never again be in the same place as he is. If they wish to invite both, then they should just invite him, as I am the one giving the ultimatum. My daughter is getting married in spring of next year. In our culture, both parents are paying for the wedding, 50-50. Unexpectedly, my daughter sat me down and told me she will be inviting my brother and his family. He married my cheating ex. Oh... Ew. How do you not see how ew that is? Apparently, she was seeing them for the last 4 years and built a relationship behind my back. She even wants her cousin to be some kind of flower girl. This is messy. This is really, really messy. I was pissed. I told her what my boundaries are, and if my brother's invited, then I will not pay my part of the wedding. Yeah. I feel like that's fair, to be honest. Like, why would you want to pay for a wedding that's going to be thousands of dollars to just like go and sit there and have to be with someone who undoubtedly hurt you? Undoubtedly? Like, I wouldn't want to pay for that either. The hell? She became angry and told me it's time to let go of the past. I mean, yeah, it's not her brother that did that, so easy for her to say that. I told her it's not her call to make. We argued some more and she told me I'm making her wedding about myself. No, you're just not gonna pay for it. Figure it out. I don't know. Damn. I told her I will probably not even attend, so it will all be about her. She left crying. Yeah, I wouldn't want to pay for a wedding that I'm not going to be at either. My ex-wife called me screaming and told me I'm a huge a-hole and our daughter is crushed. Then my parents called, same thing. I told them off and now I'm ignoring their calls. My girlfriend told me to reconsider and apologize. That by not paying and attending, I will break that relationship with my daughter. I don't know. I think my boundaries should be respected. Am I an a-hole for that? No, you're not. I'm sorry. You're just like, you're literally not. Why does everybody feel entitled to your money, but they're not willing to respect your boundaries? This is all about you not wanting to pay for the wedding, right? I don't understand. Yo, what the hell is happening on Reddit today? Man, not the a-hole all the way. This is one of those stories where your daughter has decided she's willing to alienate you for someone that betrayed your trust. It doesn't matter if it was 20 years ago. Loyalty! Loyalty! Come on, and that's not just like something little. This is a really, really big deal. If she wants him there so bad, he can pay the half. Oh, there's an interesting take. There you go. Also, it's okay she has a relationship. It's okay she wants her cousin in it. It's not okay that she wants you to pay for half her wedding. So as a person that truly hurt you can participate in it as well. Like, honestly, what? While I'm fully supporting you standing your ground, just remember if you stand there, you will miss out on her potential kids, birthday parties, and other family events because your fam will truly cut you off. If you're okay with that, do so. You're not the a-hole, my dear. I'd be caught dead before I paid for a wedding like that. If she wants you to pay for the wedding, she's just not gonna invite him. That's just like what has to happen. And if she wants to invite him, then she needs to find some other way to pay for the wedding. Not that difficult of a decision. Apparently it is though. All right, do we guys have one more? What if it's a good one? Just one more good one.
Okay.
Am I the a-hole for uninviting my mother from my wedding after she called my wife indecent for having plastic surgery? Oh, this is a new take. Okay. My partner of 11 years, Sarah, was in a car accident 3 years ago that led to her having scars across her torso, left arm, and jaw. She's been hiding them with makeup, but you could still feel them, and they also made her very self-conscious. We talked about her having them removed before we got married, as she admitted she wanted to put off getting married due to them. At Christmas of 2019, I got an unexpected bonus from work, and we already had a substantial amount set aside for the wedding, so I suggested we use the bonus pay for the plastic surgery. Oh wow, that is so nice. This went ahead and Sarah's now much happier with how she looks. She still wears makeup to hide a few small lines from the plastic surgery, but they will fade to white with time and be less noticeable. We had been planning for our wedding in October and she recently went dress shopping with my mother, her mother, and her sister. At the shop, my mother saw the scars and inquired about why they look so different from her original scars. Sarah explained about the plastic surgery and then my mother didn't mention it again, so we didn't think it was a big deal. Until yesterday, when I was at my parents discussing the business Dad and I co-own, she butted in and told me it was immoral to marry someone as indecent as Sarah. That it was disgusting that she had plastic surgery, etc., etc. Oh, brother. Give me a frickin' break. Why does it have anything to do with her? I don't get it. It's none of your dang business. There was a massive massive argument and I told her if she was gonna talk about Sarah like that, then she wasn't invited to the wedding. At which point she broke down in tears and I left. Now half my family's pissed at me for uninviting and upsetting her. Am I the a-hole here? No, you're not. Your mom is being insane. I get that plastic surgery is a taboo topic, okay? I get that having any sort of procedure done, anything that changes your appearance, people are gonna have opinions about it. But at the end of the day, it is not your problem. It doesn't have anything to do with you. Why does it bother you so much? I personally think it's amazing that people can change things that they don't like about themselves in order to be more confident. We live in an age where beauty and science come together and you can change the things that give you like crippling insecurity and fix those things about yourself. Fix those things. Most of the time people are like, hey, you didn't need to do that, whatever. You know what? That's fine. It's not your body. It's not your face. It's not your problem, okay? Let's get over this idea that people aren't allowed to like change the way they look because, you know, we wouldn't do that to ourselves. I bet you would if you had the money. I'm just saying it.
More money, more problems.
And also, this was over a reason where she was like disfigured from it being in a car accident. It wasn't even just like a vanity thing, like she didn't like her nose or whatever, which is also fine too. This was like she was permanently disfigured from a car accident and she was unhappy with the way that she looked. That's not the way that she looks naturally. So why are we okay with a car accident totally disfiguring someone, but we're not okay with a plastic surgeon going in there and disfiguring? So bizarre. Get over it. Who cares? Not the a-hole. First of all, I want to give you some respect here. It's clear that the scars didn't bother you at all, but you recognize how they're affecting Sarah and her self-esteem, and that you both talked about it openly and were happy for your bonus to go toward her surgery. For her, more for you. And also respect you for speaking up for Sarah and defending her, period. I was very happy to see that you did that too. What a dumb thing to say. Indecent. What the hell? Indecent? So weird. People have always changed the way they look, like always. Even Marilyn Monroe probably got plastic surgery. That was like 50, 70 years ago. Get with the times. Sarah was in an accident which damaged not only her body but the way she sees herself, and I bet you are the kind of guy who tells her she's beautiful but she doesn't feel it. And now she's got some of what she lost back for her. Not the a-hole. It's a shame your mom's reaction to say it's immoral. Am I the a-hole for walking out of a wedding I was a part of and ruining the day? I dated my ex-boyfriend John for 4 years and got serious enough where we started planning for our future, wedding, kids, etc. I thought we were pretty happy, but last year he dumped me pretty suddenly. I tried to figure out what went wrong, but he said it was personal and that I should respect his space.
Now it's personal.
He cheated. I'm just telling you right now, he cheated. I'm letting you know he cheated. Let's see. Come on, let's see if I'm right. Love being right. During this time, my best friend Stacy and her fiance Tom were my rocks, letting me crash at their place and just being overwhelmingly supportive and loving. When Stacy asked me to be her maid of honor, I thought it was a no-brainer and I happily took to the task. Fast forward to what happened this weekend, the morning of the wedding. Tom asked me to meet him for breakfast super early in the AM before all of the festivities. I thought it was weird, but assumed he maybe wanted me to pass something on to Stacy. What happened instead was that Tom let me know that a few days prior, Stacy admitted to him that she had an affair with John, which is what led to my breakup. I'm sorry, but why do you doubt me? I'm always right. Everything I say is right. Okay, not everything, but this for sure. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. He said that Stacy wanted to come clean to start off their marriage fresh and that he was forgiving her to move forward. Okay. He'd gone back and forth between telling me and finally decided to spill the beans. I guess he had expected me to forgive Stacy too because the affair was so long ago.
We did it last week.
I'm sorry. She asked you to be her maid of honor, knowing full well that her and your boyfriend had an affair? Yeah, no, there's gonna be no forgiving. There's The opposite pretty much happened, and I walked out on the wedding. It ended up causing a huge mess because I was basically running the whole show. Stacy made me do everything, so she didn't even know what was happening at certain times or who to call. Well, isn't that something? Ain't that just a pain? Not only that, but everyone realized that the maid of honor wasn't there. She had headshots and bios of the party on her wedding page, and news of the affair eventually got out because her cousin knew John. Stacy and Tom have both been slandering me online now, saying that I ruined their once-in-a-lifetime moment. No. No. That's not what happened. Some of their friends are on their side, saying that I should have handled the situation more privately and at least stuck out the wedding since it was so last minute. So you're telling me that this bride is angry at you because she stole your boyfriend and you didn't want to just do her bidding at her wedding?
What a bitch, right?
I personally don't know what Tom expected, but either way, I've been getting bombarded with texts and I heard that Stacey has been so upset she's had to take time off work, which does make me feel like an a-hole, especially since I've just been ignoring her calls. Babes, you're not the a-hole here. You're not the one that cheated. See, this is what happens when actions have consequences, okay? You steal somebody's boyfriend and there will be consequences. And I'm sorry that that ruined your day, but maybe you shouldn't have asked the woman that you stole her boyfriend and cheated on with to be the maid of honor and give her all of these tasks and then tell her that you're the reason that her and her boyfriend broke up right before the wedding. Like, you shouldn't have even asked this woman. What are you doing? Hard not the a-hole on this one. Was walking out of the wedding the day of a nice thing to do? Not particularly, but what on earth did they expect would happen by telling you? Seriously, like, did everybody just think that it would be okay? Just because they've had time to process and, you know, Tom forgave her doesn't mean that you've had any time to process. And they told you on the wedding day. They knew they were playing with fire. They chose when to tell you this information. Simply walking out because, whoa, Nelly, I bet there were a ton of conflicting emotions was pretty adult. Yeah, the fact that you only walked out and didn't do anything else, honestly, you're a better woman than me, honey. You didn't cause a huge scene, you just removed yourself from the situation, not the a-hole. I would have pretended to forgive her and then give a hell of a maid of honor speech, but I'm petty like that. I mean, that would have for sure ruined the wedding. I'm just saying. You didn't ruin the wedding, they ruined their own wedding by telling you the morning of that this happened. Right as she's about to walk down the aisle, and here is the woman that ruined my previous relationship by cheating on her soon-to-be husband. Mic drop, grab a bottle of bubbles, and walk out. You're not the a-hole, my dear. And don't you dare apologize. Am I the a-hole for asking what the hell she expected to happen at her crap show of a bachelorette party? For some reason, my sister and her fiance decided that the very best way to celebrate before getting married was to have a joint bachelorette party at clubs.
What could go wrong?
Okay. They also hired a bus limo for the evening. The aftermath was, thus far, 3 breakups, 4 people dropping out of the wedding party, 1 impending divorce, and 1 arrest. Okay, that's a little unhinged. What the hell happened at this club?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
The cleaning bill for the limo was more than the original rental fee also. She was crying to our mom at dinner the other day and I snorted. Okay. I tried not to, I honestly did. I was trying my best to just keep my mouth shut. She asked me what was so funny. I said I wasn't sure what she expected to happen getting a group of people drunk, using special stuff, and watching exotic dancers. Well, I mean, like, no. We can also be adults and not ruin our marriages and relationships over that. I actually feel like a joint bachelorette party should be a lot less messy than one that's separate, because at least everybody knows what's going on. But then again, that might have been what led to all the drama. She said that I was an a-hole for judging her and her friends. I said I wasn't judging, just that literally anyone could have seen that outcome. No, not anyone could have seen that outcome. My mom told me to apologize because my sister's having to replace most of her wedding party on the fly.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's a time and a place to have that opinion. And honestly, if you have that opinion, you gotta keep that to yourself, okay?
No, I don't think I will.
My mom told me to apologize because I'm glad I did apologize, but I still think I'm right. Okay, but then you're also not sorry, so. Was there anything other than the overall party plan that made this likely to be a mess? Did they buy a bunch of substances or order workers too? Because there's no actual reason a group of adults can't go to an exotic dance club, get tipsy, and have a nice time and not descend into chaos. That's what I'm saying. Like, why does it have to get to that point? I don't get it. We are all adults, okay? Bachelor and bachelorette parties can cause some drama. They definitely can. But there is no reason to suggest that a bunch of adult people who knew what they were getting into couldn't have gone out and had a nice time without causing this much messiness. And I also think that you should be a little kinder to your sister, okay? She's your sister. She's having to replace all of her friends. The wedding party is just all out of whack now. And it's probably pretty crappy to have that happen right before your wedding, which is supposed to be one of the happiest times of your life. There's no point doubling down and telling her that, oh, you knew better. Oh, you wouldn't have done it that way, blah, blah, blah. There's like, what does that achieve? Doesn't achieve anything. How does that help her? It doesn't. So just shut your mouth and be there for your sister. You're the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my polycule parents at my wedding? What's polycule? Polycule? 3 or more people who are connected romantically. Okay. Thought that was polyamorous, but okay. New knowledge, learning that. My parents are in a polycule relationship with a man. I've always been mildly uncomfortable with it just due to a variety of features about the whole thing. For starters, the man is as young as I am. Oh. Okay. And he basically lives in my former room growing up. Ooh, no, bestie, no. I don't say anything about it as it is their life and they can live it as they like. But I'll be completely honest here, all of it sort of discomforts me. Nevertheless, I have my own life and I still love them and I try not to think of that in any capacity. They're happy and that's good for them. Okay, yeah, still kind of weird, but okay. With that background out of the way, I'm getting married soon and I wanted my parents to be there, of course. They were happy for me and it was great. Then my SO and I got to arranging everything for the wedding and we eventually began arranging the seating. I wanted to run my seating plan by my parents as they know some people better, so I emailed it to them and they asked to look it over. They looked it over and they called me and they said that I missed a seat for Dave, a fake name for their significant other. I told them I didn't think Dave would be coming.
Oh, he's coming.
And they said they would all be coming, and I said I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I tried to tiptoe to gently tell them to not bring Dave, and they were insistent, so I was frank with them. I told them I was uncomfortable with Dave coming, and I wanted to share my special day with them and not Dave. I tried to explain why I didn't think it was appropriate. Uh-oh, yeah. Does everybody in your family kind of know about Dave? Or like, is this like a new piece of information? Will you guys be like making out, like the 3 of you on the dance floor and like twerking on each other?
Ah, the more the merrier.
I don't know, will you? I mean, I definitely think that you should have told them how you felt about Dave before this, but I digress. At this point, things took a turn for the worse. We had a bunch of back and forth, which basically developed into a fight. Eventually, they basically said that they'd much rather not come if they couldn't come as a couple.
That's what she said?
Don't you mean thruple? I, in a moment of anger, then said, great, then don't come, in a passive-aggressive tone. I haven't talked to my parents since then. In a way, I feel like they've changed so much from when I was young. I still love them, and I still wanted them to come, but all of this is just not how I imagined my wedding going. Why is it so important for them to have Dave there? Why is that important? Has this person raised you in any way? Like, do you have a personal relationship with Dave? It's their life to live, but this is my wedding. It's supposed to be about me and my significant other surrounded by people we cherish. Dave and I have no relationship. He's a stranger to me, and respectfully, genuinely, I'm completely fine with that. Okay, so this also is like, I think that that's also a problem, right? The fact that you and Dave don't have a relationship means like, it's not even about the thruple even at this point. If you don't know this person, he shouldn't be at your wedding, period. I want them to come, but if they want to bring Dave, I'd much rather they just don't. I love them, but I don't want Dave there. So, am I the a-hole? Edit, we're not doing a +1 system. This wedding is only for people we love and cherish and their families that we love and cherish. It is a 53-person wedding, so it isn't huge.
Look pretty big to me.
People have also asked me for my gender and age. So I'm 26 male, my fiance is 26 male. Dave is 27 male, my mom is 54, my dad is 55. I mean, point blank, if you're not doing a +1 system, they don't get a +1 for their thruple. I think for them, they're upset that you don't accept their thruple. I think they're being a little selfish. Not everybody has to agree with you. If you're gonna live a life that isn't the norm, by all means, if you're not hurting anybody, go ahead and do it. But you can't expect everybody to understand, and you can't expect everybody to accept your thruple. And also, the fact that he's the same age as your son is weird. I've said how I feel about this before. It is weird to date someone the same age as your children. Not the a-hole. Your parents definitely are, though. If this is the hill they want to die on, then let them. It's your wedding, and they should respect your boundaries. Let them know again, they are welcome to come, but just mom and dad, and not the weird stranger that they've... So how do you know the couple, Dave? Oh, I f***ed the groom's parents.
Oh, me too.
Oh, that's so weird. I'm the mother of the groom. Ah! Basta. No more. You're not the a-hole, my dear. Am I the a-hole for ditching my assigned bridesmaid at a wedding for one that is younger and a different race as me? I ended up leaving the wedding early. Okay, that's a loaded title, but all right. One of my good friends from college was getting married, call him Tom, to his wife, Liz, and asked me to be one of his groomsmen. I was honored. I haven't seen him in a while because I live across the country. When I arrived to his city, I was assigned a bridesmaid, call her Kelly. Now, Kelly is a lovely woman. However, I think we were only assigned to each other because we are both black. Oh. Liz starts telling me that we're both single and perfect for each other, but there was nothing to indicate that at all besides us both being black.
Well, that's kind of racist.
Oh, these two look the same. Let's put them together.
I should add as well that Liz has a lot more bridesmaids than Tom has groomsmen. The first night, the entire wedding party went out and became clear that Kelly wanted to hook up. I wasn't into her at all, so I kindly turned her down. She then starts interrogating me as to why.
I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
I try to give her a generic answer, but she starts listing off all the reasons why we're so perfect together. I ended up saying that I don't do the whole short-term type thing, and as we both live in completely different states, there is no future here. She ends up cooling off and tells me she respects me more for that, and that I'm a stand-up guy and the type of guy she's looking for. During the rest of the time we're there, one of the other unmatched bridesmaids, call her Jen, starts messaging me privately, and then we hit it off. Interesting. Okay, but is she looking for a relationship? Because didn't you just tell that other woman that you're not interested in hanky-panky?
Well, actually.
The next day, the wedding ceremony goes well. We have a reception, and me and Kelly do our entrance together. We dance together for a bit. After a bit, I go to the bar, and Jen and I start to dance. At this point, Kelly is giving me dirty looks. I just ignore it and continue having a good time. All is going well until I'm at the bar and Kelly and Liz confront me and start saying that me dancing with Jen is inappropriate. Okay, but it's not inappropriate. Just because you're paired up with a bridesmaid or groomsman, that doesn't mean that y'all are like a couple. They start saying she's too young for me and that looks creepy. I'm 32, she's 24, about to turn 25. I'm like, oh, okay, me and Jen are just friends. Liz at this point is angry with me and starts saying Jen is in college, she's doing her master's, and that this is her wedding and she doesn't want to see that. Then Kelly starts saying that I must have something for white women. At this point, I realize there's no logical argument I can make. I can tell Kelly and Liz that I really enjoyed the wedding, but I need to go to bed early for my flight the next day. I leave and go to my hotel. 15 minutes later, Jen leaves early. 5 minutes later, Jen came up. We both get kicked out of the wedding party chat. I found out from Tom that Kelly was crying her eyes out, and it messed up the night for Liz as well. He told me that he isn't mad at me because he told Liz from the start that Kelly isn't gonna be my type, but instead Liz really wanted to set Kelly up. At this point, I feel terrible that I made it so Liz wasn't able to enjoy her special night. As for Kelly, I just wish she got no means no.
Hey, Kelly!
Okay, so you did say no to Kelly, but you also gave her a reason that wasn't necessarily the truth. You said you don't do the whole short-term type thing. We both live in completely different states and there's no future here. Is there a future with Jen? I'm curious. Do you guys live in the same state? Are you leaving these things out? Maybe you also felt uncomfortable with the fact that they just picked the two black people, put them together, and expected them to hit it off. Not the a-hole, this is some next level psycho shit. Let's put the black people together. A woman in her mid-20s is too young for a man in his early 30s. You must have a white girl thing. These people need mental help. Respect to you for walking away. I've been calling everyone on their BS. Point being, you just weren't into her. Sometimes, you know, it would be nice if people were honest about why you aren't into someone. Sometimes it's easier to say, I'm just not into you because this, and this, etc., etc. But maybe you just don't like her very much. And that's a hard thing for you to say, right? And they also did not have the right to tell you that you have a thing for white women, okay? It's all about chemistry, baby.
You're goddamn right.
Am I the a-hole for kicking my mother out of my wedding? All rise for the honorable Dr. You may be seated. My late wife passed away 6 years ago. We dated for 4 years and we were married for 1 before her passing. My mom loved her as a daughter since I'm her only child, and I guess she never truly recovered. I love my late wife too, but after meeting and spending time with my current wife, I'm sure she was not the love of my life. My mom has never liked my relationship with my wife, Helena. She thinks I moved on too fast and refuses to believe/admit that my love for Helena is bigger and truer than the one I had for my late wife. There's a few instances before the actual wedding when I thought my mom crossed the invisible line. But my wife, wanting to be accepted, let it pass and asked me not to do anything. My mom was constantly talking and comparing the wedding with my first one. We married young and I couldn't afford lots or big things with Helena. I'm financially stable and I was capable of having a big, beautiful wedding with her. She asked several times if I could invite my late wife's parents to my wedding as an act of love and to tell them I was still there for them, but I refused. I haven't talked to them in years and I have no reason for keeping them in my life. She was very adamant, and even Helena said that if I wanted to have them there, then it was okay, but I didn't want to. I felt like my mom had a hold onto my previous marriage too hard, refusing to let it go and inviting me to do the same. As bad as it sounds, I was done. I wanted to be with Helena without the burden of always having my ex-in-laws there, watching the life her daughter and I did not have. That's definitely fair. I mean, if you don't have a relationship with them, I don't really see why it's important for you to invite them to the wedding. In fact, it's probably going to be pretty painful for them to watch their ex-son-in-law marry somebody else. During the wedding day, my mom actually showed up with them. Oh, stop. Really? Ooh. I asked what they're doing there and they, very ashamed, said that my mother had invited them and thought it was okay. My mom said they're family and I had a duty toward them. I said they could stay for the reception to avoid comments, but that I hadn't invited them and that I was sorry. Oh God, that position to be in. Oh my God, that is so awkward. I looked to my mom and said, "You're not allowed to say anything. Leave, we will talk later." She cried and begged, but asked her again to leave. In the end, the three of them left together and my dad, who's been divorced of her for almost 15 years, called me an a-hole. Ooh, yeah. I mean, I don't really know what's going on in your relationship with your ex-in-laws, but like if it's your wishes to not invite them to the wedding, then that's something that your mom should have respected. Would I have kicked my mom out of my wedding? I don't know if I would have gone that far. I don't know if I would have done that. Because then, you know, now she won't be present in the new wedding. But it doesn't really sound like she wants that new wedding to even happen either, so... Let's see what Reddit had to say. Judging just on the wedding situation, not the a-hole, but you do sound kind of callous speaking about your late wife like that. Almost like it was convenient that she passed so you could move on to find your true love. That is a very, very good point. There was something about reading that where I was just like, okay, yeah, all right, this is how we're talking about people that died now? I don't know. Both you and your mom need therapy, and OP, you did need to treat your ex-in-laws better. They were unwittingly brought into the situation by your mom and had no idea. Agreed. It's not their fault. And the fact that they wanted to show up and support you says something about them. They could have said no. Hard disagree that he sounds callous. He sounds fine. His mother is holding on to the grief and using her belief that her feelings are the right feelings to pull the OP back into the past. Yeah, but like, it's still a little sketchy. You know, like maybe you're just really, really over it and that's the way you wrote it the way that you did. But like at the same time, I don't know. You're not an a-hole, but... still, let's try to be a little bit understanding of everybody in this situation. I agree that since he did not maintain a connection with his late wife's parents, it's awkward to invite them to the wedding. It would be totally, utterly different if they were married longer before his late wife's passing, if there were kids involved, if the OP had maintained a connection, but none of these things happened, not the a-hole. All right. Agreed with you. Reddit only seems to like widowers who perpetually grieve and want to force their new partners to live in shrines to the old one. Good point. Heaven forbid they actually end up happier than they ever were with their old partner. Wouldn't the old partner kind of want them to be like happy in the end? To find somebody else? Hopefully. I mean, I don't talk to ghosts very often, but I do hope that they want the best for us. Me also thinking about the fact that ghosts haunt people. Right, okay. This story's actually a breath of fresh, healthy air, and I'm happy for OP and wish him well. Yeah, I mean, I could see both sides, genuinely. Like, I really do. I don't think he's the a-hole for not inviting his mom to the wedding, but like, I also don't know if I would go as far to kick her out. You can move on and love again without disparaging your deceased partner, though. She obviously wasn't the love of my life is an a-hole statement no matter how you cut it. That's why I didn't like it. I didn't like the way that it was written. To each their own. Everyone sucks with the exception of Helena, who's obviously accepting of her new partner's past and trying to be respectful all around. OP found a good one in her. Whether he's a good one or not is up for debate. I mean, I don't know. This one is actually a confusing one. Like, he might not be in this instance, but he is kind of, he said some dickish things, couple dickish things. Then again, he also lost his wife, who apparently he was happy to lose. I don't know. Reddit said not the a-hole. I'm gonna leave it up for discussion. Am I the a-hole for inviting my brother to my wedding, but not his wife? I'm engaged. My fiance is fat. She was when I met her. I've always found her irresistibly sexy. Ooh, Okay, we love that. Not looking for commentary or unsolicited advice on this point, period. I'm glad you can admit that. Good for you. We need more people who are willing to admit that. He got married last year. His wife had all my siblings' significant others as bridesmaids, whether they were married or dating. Even my other brother's girlfriend, who he's been with only a few months. I had been with my girlfriend for nearly 5 years at that point, and everyone knew it was a question of when, not if, we'd get married. She didn't ask my girlfriend to be a bridesmaid because she didn't want to be constrained to picking a bridesmaid's dress available in plus sizes, and did not want to have my girlfriend in her wedding photos. Okay. I see where this is going. I'm not speculating. That's not something I ever could have guessed. That's what she said in her own words when we arrived at the wedding to find everyone else's significant others were bridesmaids but her, and asked what was going on. I thought maybe it was a Bridezilla moment and she'd realize how hurtful it was later, but it's been over a year, and while my brother has apologized again and again for ever having allowed that to happen, why he's invited, his wife never did, even when it's been brought up in front of her. Okay. See, guys, apologies are important. We can all be a-holes in the right circumstances. But what differentiates between being an a-hole and just acting like an a-hole is an apology. We've only seen them a couple times since the wedding, and my fiance's tried to forgive and forget, but it's still uneasy between us because of the singular lens we now know she views my fiance through. My fiance doesn't mind grinning and bearing for the occasional family event we have to attend, but I didn't feel like it would be right to make her spend her wedding day with someone who would ever treat her as less than a human being. Period, babe. We were having a very intimate wedding, 20 people, 12 family. Yeah, get her out of there. Not necessary. Having that woman there would taint the whole dynamic. That being said, the rest of the family is understandably upset. Who cares? My family, my brother especially, feel like we're trying to make them choose sides. In my other brother's words, even if that wasn't your intention, it is the result, and that's a real a-hole move none of us deserve. We didn't do anything to your fiance. Yeah, but the fact that you all seemingly think it's okay that, like, this sister-in-law treated her that way, there's a problem there. Like, definitely. Like, 100% that's an issue. I definitely don't want to make anyone choose sides, and he's not them. This, you know, like the whole choosing side thing is like, oh, I'm trying to stay neutral, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, don't choose sides, but I'm gonna pay attention to what side you choose. Loyalty, my friends. He's not wrong. They didn't cause a problem and don't deserve the fallout, but my wife also deserves a wedding day with only people who love and cherish her. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my brother's wife? Absolutely not. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Why does it even matter to the brother's wife if she's there? Like, doesn't really sound like she likes your fiance very much. I'm just telling you right now. So why does it matter if she's at the wedding? Oh, Shaisa, she actually came out and said that, eh? Listen, your brother has to do what he has to do. That's his wife. If he picks her side, so be it. But you have to do what you have to do. This is your wife here. Pick her side. Get it! Loyalty! Get it through your head. Loyalty. Don't be like Switzerland. We are at war! Pick me, my side. I am the smart one. Even when I'm irrational and dumb. OP said it word for word, one of the most surreal moments of my adult life. If your partner won't stick up for you, who the hell will, you know? That's why they're there. This is making me so angry because your family did choose sides. That's what I'm saying. It's like they're not choosing sides. That's what someone says when they have chosen a side and it's not your side. I'm staying out of it. I'm staying out of it. Yeah, right. They already went to a wedding where they knew the only significant other excluded was your fiance. That's why I'm like, dude, the fact that they think it's okay to treat her like that is like kind of messed up. And they're gaslighting you into thinking that you're the problem when all you're doing is sticking up for your wife. Oh my God. It's one thing to exclude someone because they're, you know, like not a nice person. It's another thing to exclude someone because they're fat. If your sister-in-law told you to your face why, she definitely told the family before the wedding. Not a single person gave you or your fiance a heads up before the wedding. Not a single person had a problem with it. That's why they're complicit. Like, they literally chose the side. They probably are fat phobic too, like, honestly. Why do they now have a problem with exclusion? Why didn't they at your brother's wedding? How come him and his bride weren't making people pick sides, but you and your fiance suddenly are when everyone knows in your case there is a good reason? In contrast, your sister-in-law's reasons were cruel and spiteful and trash. F your brother who said that, man. Tell him to shut up and attend the wedding as he did your other brothers. Not the a-hole a million times over. Period. That's how I feel about it too. I love being right. I don't know about you guys, but if someone hurts my friend, they are like dead to me. Doesn't matter if, like, you know, we were friendly before, etc., etc. You hurt my friend, Finito. Basta. Bye-bye. Literally, that's honestly how I feel. Family's even worse. I pick sides, and it's your side.
Let's get in a fight.
I don't condone violence.
But let's get in a fight.
Am I the a-hole for excluding my parents' thruple partner from my wedding? Okay. 27 female, was raised by my maternal grandparents. My parents are free spirits that didn't want to settle down and raise a child. Whatever. Whatever. I saw them every few months when they would come by. Eventually they stopped coming. I didn't miss them. My grandmother and grandfather were my parents. I'm getting married in March and my invitations have all gone out. I invited my parents as guests. They are not part of the wedding or anything like that. I wasn't going to invite them, but my grandfather asked me to please let my bio mom be a part of my day. About a week ago, I spoke with my bio dad. He wants a +1 on their invitation. I have not seen him in years, so I thought maybe they had a kid and hadn't mentioned it. Nope. Apparently, him and my mother have a man in his 30s that's part of their relationship. Oh, okay. I always find that so interesting, you know, like polyamorous relationships. I just wonder if they work. Oh, polygamous. Sorry, my mistake. Polygamous. There's a difference. While neither myself or my fiance are particularly religious, I have no objections to polygamous relationships in general. I would prefer to not have to deal with that at my wedding. I told him that he and my mother were invited as a courtesy and they had no parental privileges for me to consider. Sassy. He said that excluding their partner was mean, but like you didn't even know he existed until now. Like, I'm sorry, I wasn't even invited to like a wedding that my boyfriend was invited to, and I was like, you know, acquaintances with the bride and groom. So like, oh, and my boyfriend was like he was the MC, so pretty close to the bride and groom. I was a little salty about it, I'm not gonna lie. But you didn't hear me raise concerns. Who cares? He said excluding their partner was mean and he wouldn't have left me with my grandparents if he knew they were going to raise me to be prejudiced. Okay, like you can do whatever you want, but don't expect everybody to like agree with you, you know? I've spoken with my grandparents about this, both sets. Nobody knew anything. So it seems that they were going to use my wedding to introduce this guy to the families. Oh, that, Interesting. I called him back and was very firm. I told him I've spoken with my wedding coordinator, made sure that no uninvited guests come to my wedding. Since we're having the reception at a resort hotel in my city, they have security. I also spoke with the manager and explained that I might have uninvited guests trying to get into my wedding reception. He said security would escort anyone like that off the property and call the cops if needed. Ooh, okay, spicy. All of this was relayed to my parents and now they're complaining to everyone. I'm dealing with it by telling everyone who calls me to fight for them exactly why I'm excluding the person they want to bring. I just talked to my mother. She screamed at me for telling people her private business. Edit, adding in that all my guests get a +1 unless I invited them as a couple or as a family. Okay, this is a toughie. I mean, it would be one thing if you had a good relationship with your parents. It's an entirely different thing because you don't. Like, they literally, I feel like this is more about the fact that they were not involved in your life growing up and they kind of like abandoned you than it is about them having a thruple. Not the a-hole, this doesn't sound like it's about prejudice, about polyamory, so much as it's not about wanting someone random at your wedding and not owing your parents anything. They're lucky they're getting an invite at all. Yeah, like, I'm surprised you invited them to begin with. To be fair, I am giving all my guests a +1, obviously not married couples, but all my cousins, for example, whether I know their partners or not. Okay. The way I see it, your mom is the invite and your dad is the +1, period. You're giving a +1 to singles so they're not on their own. You are under no obligation to give a +1 to a couple. So they were planning to overshadow your wedding by using that as an opportunity to introduce their thruple partner and their new lifestyle to everyone. Now your bio is upset that you are telling her private business before she gets the opportunity to do it at your wedding. Not the a-hole. I'm glad your grandparents stepped up as parents. OP, congratulations to you and your partner, and best wishes to the bride. All right, Reddit has dubbed this person not the a-hole. So scat.